Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Uh, our topic of discussion now is paranasal sinuses. Our objectives are define pneumatic bones, describe paranasal sinuses, and discuss their applied aspects. So we start with pneumatic bones. So already in foundation module, when you were studying the classification of bones, you have studied this type of bones, which are known as pneumatic bones. These are the bones which are present in the skull and they have air filled cavities inside, so they are hollow from inside. Portion of these bones are hollow from inside and it is filled with air. So that's why they are known as pneumatic bones. Which are those bones? The frontal bone, maxillary bone, then we have over here inside deeply ethmoid bone, and also deeply in the other view I will show. Here we can see this yellow colored bone which is known as sphenoid bone. So sphenoid, ethmoid, then we have frontal, maxilla, and also the part of the temporal. These are the bones which are containing air-filled cavities inside, and these hollow spaces, we name these bones as pneumatic bones: frontal, maxillary, ethmoid, and sphenoid, which are concerned here in this lecture. This is a lateral view which is basically showing the sphenoid bone mainly and the maxilla. So these are pneumatic bones. Now we start with the nose. Already you have taken the lecture of the nose. In nose we have openings, the anterior nares, which are opening into the exterior, and posterior nares or posterior openings. And if we see the nose, in the center of the nose, this is known as nasal septum. So the central partition of the nose, which is separating right side from the left side, is nasal septum, which is forming the medial wall of the nose. We can say this is the medial wall, and then this outer flanking out wall is the lateral wall. This is known as lateral wall. So here we are more concerned with the lateral wall of the nose. So this diagram is showing the median septum as already we discussed. These are the anterior nares, posterior nares, medial wall or nasal septum, and this is our lateral wall. So if we see the lateral wall, which we already have discussed in the previous lecture of nose, that it has curtain-like structures which are known as concha. These are actually bony projections which are hanging from the lateral wall of the nose downward. This is the lateral wall, and this is the bone which is hanging down like this. Like this. They are hanging like this, like a curtain, and this side is the wall. Outer side is the wall, and inner side they are hanging from the wall like a curtain, and we name them as superior concha, middle concha, and inferior concha. So there are three concha present in the lateral wall of the nose, and they are curtain line hanging from the bony tissue. And just on between the lateral wall and this concha there is a space, there is an opening which are known as meatus. Meatus means an opening in the bone, like you have studied in long bones foramina. In the same way, meatus means opening in a bone. So just on the inner side of the superior concha is the inner side is superior meatus. Below the middle concha is middle meatus, and just below the inferior concha is inferior meatus. So that diagram is showing that how the air is passing through these openings into the sinuses, which we are going to discuss. So if we take a section from this portion, what we will see on this side, we can see this is the lateral wall of the nose, this is the roof or bridge of the nose, and this is the floor of the nose relying on the hard palate. This is the median septum, and median septum is forming the medial wall of this nose nasal cavity on the right side as well as medial wall on the left side. So nasal septum is actually forming the medial side of both the sides of the nose, and the lateral wall has curtain-like bony projections which are hanging from above downward, known as superior, middle and inferior concha, and because of their hanging, in between them there are openings, and these openings are known as superior meatus, middle meatus and inferior meatus. So in lateral wall we have three openings: superior, middle and inferior meatuses, along with others which we are going to discuss. Mainly below every concha there is an opening which is known as superior, middle and inferior meatus. So again I will repeat, this is the nose, median septum, medial wall, lateral wall. In lateral wall we have curtain-like structures known as concha, which are bony projections. And because of these formation of bony projection, there are gaps in between, and these gaps are known as meatus, superior, middle and inferior. So our topic is paranasal sinuses. Paranasal means parallel to the nose. That's why they are known as paranasal. Sinuses are the spaces. They are spaces. So there are spaces just parallel to the nose. That's why they are known as paranasal sinuses. And they are present or formed in the pneumatic bones, which are known as frontal, ethmoidal, sphenoidal, and maxillary. So we have four paranasal sinuses, or four pairs of paranasal sinuses: frontal, ethmoidal, sphenoidal and maxillary. This diagram is showing the location of these paranasal sinuses. Frontal is present in near just above the superciliary arch or eyebrows, just at this level of frontal. There are two, right and left, and in between there is a very thin plate of bone which is separating both of them. So we have frontal sinus. In the maxilla, the largest air sinus is maxillary sinus. Then deeply in the lateral view, we can appreciate the sphenoidal air sinus in yellow color. Again, it is separated in between by a thin plate of bones. And then there are small pockets of air cells present. These are ethmoidal cells or ethmoidal air sinuses. Generally, we name them as ethmoidal air cells. This green color. So they are not a single cavity, but it is a small pockets, and we divide them into three parts: anterior ethmoidal cells, middle ethmoidal cells, and posterior ethmoidal, according to their anatomical position. The most anterior one are anterior, then in the middle are the middle, and most posteriorly. So ethmoidal air sinus is divisible into basically three parts: anterior ethmoidal cells, middle ethmoidal cells, and posterior ethmoidal cells. So we have frontal sinus, maxillary sinus, sphenoidal sinus, and ethmoidal sinus, having anterior, middle, and posterior ethmoidal cells. These all sinuses are connecting to the nose through its lateral wall, which we are going to discuss. So air is passing through the nose and entering into the sinuses. Now this is again a schematic diagram which is showing the presence of these sinuses. This is our nose in blue color. We have the largest sinus, as you can see, maxillary on the lateral side. At the superior part again we have two, frontal, right and left. Then we have ethmoidal air cells, anterior, middle and posterior, combinedly named as ethmoidal air sinus. And most posteriorly we have sphenoidal air sinus, which some say is the extension from the ethmoidal spaces, but it is present in the sphenoidal bone, so known as sphenoidal ear sinuses. So, the frontal is in the frontal, maxillary in the maxillary, ethmoidal just at the near the roof of the nose, and just posterior to the roof is the sphenoidal. That is the location of Varanasian sinuses. What I have talked before is the same, that these bones are completely covered by the mucous membrane, and if we see here in the sphenoidal air sinus there is an opening over here which we can see, and also we can see some openings over here which we are going to discuss as meatus or recesses. So when we cover this all structure through mucous membrane, they will appear like what we have seen in previous. This one. So here we can see that all the structures are covered by mucous membrane or mucosa, and it appear like this. So pier, middle and inferior concha and frontal and sphenoidal ear sinuses. Here we can see a small opening which we are going to discuss. When we remove the superior concha and see deeply, what we can see the air cells which are known as ethmoidal air sinus. So in this diagram now we can appreciate frontal air sinus, sphenoidal air sinus which we have also seen in the previous slide. Along with that, what we will see that we have removed the superior concha as well as we have removed the middle concha, and we are seeing inside those concha. So superior concha deeply we have pockets of air on the cells. We name them ethmoid cells. So this portion is known as anti-ethmoidal cells, middle ethmoidal cells and posterior ethmoidal cells, and their drainage is different: anterior, middle and posterior ethmoidal. Again I will repeat, maxillary we can't see because we have to look from the front to see the maxillary air sinus. Now this is a part of the superior meatus. The part of the middle meatus over here, we have middle nasal concha which we removed, and if we can see down deeply, this area is middle concha area. This is superior concha area. So when we remove the middle concha area, what we see? We see a longitudinal groove in the mucous membrane, and this groove is known as semilunar hiatus. Semilunar means half moon. Semi means half, lunar means moon. So semilunar, half moon. Hiatus is a basically contains openings, and it is known as longitudinal openings. We name it as semilunar hiatus. This semilunar hiatus is providing space for the openings of the sinuses. So frontal air sinus open through this or connected to the lateral wall through frontonasal duct and open into the semilunar hiatus in the upper part, and in the lower part of the hiatus opening of maxillary sinuses there. So this is our frontal and this is our maxillary openings, and this is sphenoidal, and we have an opening of ethmoidal air sinus over here. You can see this one just beside the pointer. So this diagram is clearly showing the pathway of sphenoidal air sinus, that through the sphenoidal sinus there is an opening into the bony projection, and the air passage is like this over here into the lateral wall. This opening is known as sphenoethmoidal recess. Another important thing regarding sphenoidal air sinus is that it is lying just below a very important structure which is known as pituitary gland, which is one of the master gland of the body. Along with that, the brain is present over here with some important structures like optic nerves or optic chiasma, so it has a direct relation. So infection of this area can involve the brain tissue. Now This diagram is showing the front of the face, this one. So we have maxillary sinus right as well as left. This is the left, this is the right. This is the left maxillary sinus and this is the right maxillary sinus. And the section we have taken is almost like this, frontal section. If you cut the skull like this, take the frontal section like this, it will appear like this. So it is a frontal section which is showing the orbits. Below maxillary bone anterior wall is removed, so we can see the maxillary sinuses. We can see the inferior concha, which is a separate bone already we discussed, connected to the maxillary bone, and it has a small projection which is known as observate process projection. And along with that, superiorly we can see that this is ethmoid bone. This is the part of ethmoid bone which is known as crista galli. And here from ethmoid bone we have projections, superior concha and inferior middle concha. So important thing regarding this is also regarding their drainage, that these sinuses are draining downward towards the gravity, but in maxillary air sinus the opening to the nose, between the nose lateral wall and maxillary sinus, is very higher up. So if there is any collection in this area, it cannot be drained in normal anatomical position. If you are standing up, your fluid cannot be drained because the opening is higher up. So when we talk about maxillary air sinus, it is a larger sinus. Its opening is in the inferior meatus, as you can see in the middle meatus area. This is inferior concha and this is middle meatus. This is superior meatus, middle meatus, and inferior meatus. Three openings: superior concha, middle concha, inferior concha. These two concha are the parts of ethmoid bone. This is a separate bone. This is superior meatus, middle meatus, inferior meatus. So maxillary sinus opening is in the middle meatus. If we talk about the boundaries, this portion which is towards the zygomatic bone is the apex of the maxillary air sinus, and the lateral wall lower part is the base. So this is the apex, which is basically this portion, the zygomatic bone, or over here this portion. This is the apex of the sinus, and this lateral wall is the base of the sinus. So apex, base. The roof is formed by the floor of the orbit, and floor is formed by the 2 to 3 premolar toe. Apex toward the zygomatic bone, base toward the lateral wall lower part, roof formed by the floor of the orbit, and floor is formed by the direct contact with the alveolar sockets of the maxilla, which contains premolar teeth. So here very important thing, that if there is any during the removal of the tooth, if there is an infection, or if you drill deeply, you can connect to the maxillary sinus. So it is a very common source of infection, that while extraction of the tooth there is a thin plate which is broken up or tear up, and you are in contact with the air sinus. So infection from the oral cavity can travel to the maxillary sinus and cause problem. This is the maxillary sinus. Over here it is showing the frontal sinus, and here we can see these are the ethmoidal cells. This is middle ethmoidal cells. Now the middle ethmoidal cells, they are larger in size and they are projecting toward the lateral wall. Like we can see the concha, the ethmoidal cells collection is down, and due to the presence of these, there is a projection or convexity towards the lateral wall, and this is known as ethmoidal bulla. So basically ethmoidal bulla is a convex area or elevated area forming a bulla or projection, because of the presence of middle ethmoidal cells present inside. Now we can see frontal air sinus. This is the sphenoidal air sinus, and here what we have seen that we have cut the concha. So these curtains are removed from their superior part, and we can see the openings now. So here this is the hiatus semilinaris, and just above the hiatus semilinaris we have this bony projection overlapped by mucous membrane, which is known as ethmoidal bulla. So this ethmoidal bulla is basically presence. This convexity is present because of the presence of middle ethmoidal cells inside. So if we see the openings, the frontal already we discussed that it is opening into the upper part of the hiatus semilinaris over here, which is known as infundibulum, the frontonasal duct, brain's frontal sinus, and in the same place anti-ethmoidal cells are also draining. So in hiatus semilinaris there is a upper part and lower part. In upper superior pole or superior part we have opening for the nasolacrimal duct, frontonasal duct between the frontal bone and nasal cavity, and along with that anti-ethmoidal cells are also opening here, and in the lower part we have opening for the maxillary air sinus in the floor of semininar hiatus and the lower part of semininar sinus. At ethmoidal bulla or those convexity, there are opening for the middle ethmoidal cells. So the middle meatus is mainly giving opening to many structures. So most of the openings are in the middle meatus for the middle ethmoidal cells, maxillary sinus, anti-ethmoidal cells, and frontal sinus. The sphenoidal sinus is opening just above the superior concha as through an opening which is known as sphenoethmoidal recess. This one. The most superior opening is for the sphenoidal sinus. Then just this is superior nasal concha which we have removed. So below that we have superior meatus. Superior meatus gives opening to the posterior ethmoidal cells. So one opening is in the superior meatus, that is for the posterior ethmoidal cells. Above that we have sphenoethmoidal recess for the sphenoid sinus. In the middle we have opening for the middle ethmoidal cells, maxillary sinus, frontal as well as anti-ethmoidal. And just below the inferior concha there is opening known as inferior meatus, which has an opening for a duct which is connecting our nose with the lacrimal gland which is present in the upper part of the orbit, draining the tears. So also there is an opening into the nose of that lacrimal gland duct known as nasolacrimal duct. So nasolacrimal duct open below the inferior meatus. So here is just a brief description that sphenoethmoidal draining sphenoidal air sinus, superior meatus for the posterior air model air sinus, middle meatus bulla ethmoidalis, which is formed by the collection of middle ethmoidal cells. Here the middle ethmoidal air cell animals are draining, and hiatus semilinaris we have frontal air sinus, maxillary air sinus, anti-ethmoidal sinus. They all are opening in the hiatus semilinaris. Frontal and ethmoidal, these both are draining in the upper part of the hiatus, and lower part of the floor maxillary sinus is having their opening. And inferior meatus is for the nasolacrimal duct. So these meatuses are the openings along with LSS for this. This is about the brief description of all the openings which are draining different sinuses. And here we can appreciate that the probes are passing to clearly show the opening of the sinuses. For sphenoidal air sinus we have sphenoethmoidal recess. Frontal sinus is opening into the upper part of the hiatus semilinaris through the opening which is known as frontonasal duct along with anti-ethmoidal cells. Here at Bulla ethmoidalis we have middle ethmoidal cells. In the superior meatus we have posterior ethmoidal cells. At the floor or lower part we have maxillary opening, sinus opening at the hiatus semilunaris, and then just at the inferior meatus we have opening for the nasal lacrimal. Now the major function of the paranasal sinus is that because of the hollow spaces and only the air is there along in place of the bony cells, it makes the weight of the skull lighter. It helps in resonance of the voice. So we will talk about in a moment about the resonance of the voice, and also act as air conditioning chamber for the inspired air. So the inspired air is passing through this, and in histology you will talk more about it because its epithelium is ciliated. So they are continuously cleaning the air, as well as they are, if the air is warm, they make it, the epithelium and cilia make them cool, and if it is cool, it makes them warm according to the body temperature. So it acts as a air conditioning chamber for the inspired air. So the inflammation of the sinuses is known as sinusitis, which is a very common condition, especially in the winter season. So in which inflammation of the sinuses takes place. This side is showing the normal sinuses, frontal, sphenoidal, ethmoidal, and maxillary. And here we can say the sinuses have fluid inside, excessive fluid. Normally, the sinuses contains only air. There is no fluid. But when there is a inflammation, because of the blockage of the openings which is draining the secretions from the sinuses, the fluid is filling in these sinuses and not draining because of the obstruction in the openings. So because of that, or maybe excessive fluid formation is there, so the inflamed sinuses are there, and because of this inflammation of the mucous membrane block the openings. And you have also experienced that whenever we have sinusitis, we feel heaviness in the frontal region or feel pain, and even in severe sinusitis, we also feel pain in the cheek area. That is because of the presence of fluid inside these sinuses, which are not coming out. And the same we have talked about, that when the normal air is inside, it helps in resonancing of the voice. When voice is okay, normal. But if we have fluid inside, so we have seen that when we have severe flu or sinusitis, our voice changes. Why it is changes? Because air is not having the same place or same covered area. It is very less because it is filled with mucus secretions. So voice changes because the resonance is not proper. So the voice changes in the sinusitis. The symptoms are that we have nasal discharge, nose can be blocked, we can feel facial pain, especially in the frontal and maxillary area, because it is inflammation. So we can feel fever and we can feel headache because of the blockage of not draining of the sinuses. So that is known as sinusitis. If the nose is also involved, or the mucosa of the nose is also involved, then we name it as rhinitis. So commonly rhinitis is the inflammation of the nasal mucosa, and sinusitis is the inflammation of sinuses, and it can combine known as rhinosinusitis. Here we can see that maxillary air sinus has mucus secretions, and because of the nasal polyp, it is obstructing the opening, because all the sinuses are opening into the lateral wall of the nose. So if there is a thickening or formation or overgrowth of nasal mucosa, that is known as nasal polyp. So it is a growth from the mucous membrane of the nose, and they obstruct the opening, so sinus cannot be drained. So for that you have to remove this so that the opening is clear. This diagram is showing the nasal polyp. You can see on one side it is appearing okay, but on the other side this nasal mucosa is so much thickened and overgrowth that it completely blocking the nose. So no secretion can come out until you will remove this. So it is a very common condition in which that draining is not there. So in patient with sinusitis and continuous inflammation, the overflow takes place and the blockage is there. So this is a schematic diagram which is showing nasal polyps. Nasal polyps can appear in any part of the nose or the lateral wall, but you can see these are the polyps. They can come over the meatus. These are concha and these are the meatus. So they can take the path of the meatus and block the secretions. So really difficult for draining and sinusitis is continuous. So most of the patients with sinusitis, if they have polyps, they have to remove them. And for removal of this or cleaning the sinuses from the infection or from the mucus secretion or thickening or inflammation, surgery is required, which is known as FES, functional endoscopic sinus surgery, in which through an endoscope the polyps from the nose as well as from the sinuses are removed to clear the pathway. So it is a common acute and chronic condition, the sinusitis. So FES is performed nowadays for endoscopic sinus surgery to clear it, but recurrence is very much common. Here we can see that this is a blocked opening for the maxillary sinus, because the opening is also higher up. Already we discussed that point. So it is blocked, so fluid is not draining out properly. So after the FES or functional endoscopic sinus surgery, this polyp is removed. As this polyp or this thickening of the mucous membrane overgrowth is removed, the opening is clear now. So all the fluid is drained and the sinus is working properly now. So that's all the venous sinuses. So if you have any question, you can contact or email. Thank you very much.